Welcome back, everyone. Crowon here again, and we're going to go ahead and tackle UCE Loot Rules this time. So let's go ahead and get it imported in. Get Loot Rules and import that. Let it run through, add its defines, do all the fun things. Let's take us a moment. There we go. So we got loot rules in here. And we're going to go ahead and open up our README as always. Get that open. Alright, and this has very little to do, which is fantastic. So all Loot Rules is going to do is make it so not everyone can just loot everything when it's there. It'll give some control for how loot can be divvied out. So we're gonna need to make one core change here. So we're gonna need to go into player. We'll open that up. And now this is fun. The line ending thing is super annoying, but copy out the first line we got to locate, put that in, and there we are. So now we're just going to go ahead and take our changes that we got to put in and paste them in, and there you go. So now it'll check against the loot rules. We can close that after we save and come back and let it finish compiling. And that's it for the requirements to get loot rules in and now functional. So Loot Rules is going to have a lot more to it as well if you are using like our PvP add-on and so on. But let's go ahead and see how we can modify these Loot Rules. So if we were to come into our prefabs, into our entities, we can go to monsters, and we can go to our skeleton here that we've been working with, and there'll be a new section. We'll collapse our drop chances and look at Loot Rules here. So as it says, the victor can always loot. So no matter how you set this up, whoever killed the monster will always be able to loot it. Like, it's only fair that if they're the ones that did the work, they're the ones that get the loot. Now in here you can also set up when these rules are going to be lifted. So if you want it, so if a monster's been dead for 30 seconds or a minute, anyone can then loot it. You can then go ahead and set this to 30 seconds. This is in seconds. And then anyone can loot it after that time frame. So we're going to do 60. It makes about most sense, about a minute. It gives you someone a minute to loot it. And then here you can go ahead and say anyone can loot it that's in the party with the player. Or anyone that's in the player's guild can loot it. Otherwise, if you just want it so anyone can loot and you want it the original way, you can just check that on, and now anyone can loot that. And this allows you to tailor it. The reason it's per monster like this and not the game wide is you can really control then the sequence of what people can do. So if you wanted to do like a guild event style dungeon, everything could be looted to the guild, so they don't even got to be in a party. They could just be guilded. You could have dungeons, or very typically party is the most common one out there. You just have this checked and you always can loot whatever the party killed. Otherwise, if there's zones that you want everyone to be able to loot everything, such as certain PvP zones, danger zones, stuff like that, you can have those monsters back on loot everybody. So it's super simple addition to the mix here that just gives you some more control when it comes to how loot is divvied out between your players instead of just a rabid free-for-all everyone gets to fight over. So that is it. Let's go ahead and test it to make sure we can get in and loot stuff still when we play. As the victor, we should always be able to loot. Now, obviously, the best way to test this would be to build out another copy, run a party member. Now, building out in a video and stuff takes too long. This is just not going to do it, but we'll just quickly do a test here to make sure as the victor we can still loot and get what we need off of these skeletons. And as you can see, we're still able to grab our loot because we are the victor in that fight, so that's fantastic. And there we go. That is all there is to getting loot rules into your game and functional. So I'll catch you in the next one.